Today for the 10th class students, in the 5th chapter we are going for the introduction of quadratic equations. The equation of the form p of x equal to 0, where p of x is a quadratic polynomial in x and p of x is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c, is called as a quadratic equation. It has a degree of 2. So we have already studied about quadratic polynomials. So the degree is 2 and it will be in the form of ax square plus bx plus c. So here we are saying quadratic equation. So we have an equal to symbol and we have LHS and RHS. LHS will be a quadratic polynomial and RHS is 0. The general form of a quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, where a is not equal to 0. A is not equal to 0 because once a is equal to 0, the x square term disappears. So when there is no x square term, it is not a quadratic equation. Any value for x which satisfies the quadratic equation is called as a solution or the root of a quadratic equation. In quadratic polynomials, to find the zeros, we have equated the quadratic polynomial to 0 and then we have found out the value of x which satisfies the quadratic polynomial. So, the zeros of the quadratic polynomial and the roots of the quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0 are the same. So once they are polynomials, we call them as zeros of the polynomial, and in quadratic equations we call them as roots of the quadratic equation. As the degree of the quadratic equation is 2, we can have 0 or 1 or 2 roots. At most, there are only 2 roots for the quadratic equation. To identify if the given equation is a quadratic equation, we need to simplify the equation to its simplest form. We have to check that the degree is 2 and the coefficient of x square is not 0. For example, check if x plus 1 whole square is equal to 2 into x minus 4 is a quadratic equation. X plus 1 whole square is equal to 2 into x minus 4. So expanding x plus 1 whole square, we get x square plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 2x minus 8. Bringing the RHS terms to the left hand side, x square plus 2x plus 1 minus 2x plus 8 equal to 0. X square plus 0x plus 9 equal to 0. This is the simplest form. It is in the general form ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. It is of degree 2 and the coefficient of x square is 1 and it is not equal to 0. So it is a quadratic equation. Observe children, b and c may or may not be 0. So to check whether it is a quadratic equation, we are concerned only about the degree of the quadratic equation to be 2 and the value of a is not equal to 0. Now let us take another example. Check if x minus 2 into x plus 1 is equal to x minus 1 into x plus 3 is a quadratic equation. So x minus 2 into x plus 1 is equal to x square minus x minus 2. And x minus 1 into x plus 3 is equal to x square plus 2x minus 3. Bringing all the right hand side terms to the left hand side, we are left with x minus 5 equal to 0. This is not a quadratic equation as the degree is not 2. So though looking at the problem we feel that it is a quadratic equation, it is necessary to simplify and bring it to the simplest form. Only then we can say whether it is a quadratic equation or not. Now the next part of the quadratic equation is how to write the verbal problems into a quadratic equation. Now let us see an example. The product of two consecutive positive integers is 600. write the information given in a quadratic form. So here we have two unknown numbers. So number 1 and number 2, and their product is 600. And it is also given that the two numbers are consecutive positive integers. So if we take number 1 as a smaller number, then number 2 will be number 1 plus 1. Or if we take number 1 as a bigger number, then number 2 plus 1 is equal to number 1, because they are consecutive numbers. So here I am taking number 1 as a bigger number. Now let number 2 equal to x. So number 1 will be equal to number 2 plus 1, that is equal to x plus 1. So number 1 into number 2 is equal to 600. So instead of number 1 I am writing x plus 1, and instead of number 2 I am writing x. So x plus 1 into x is equal to 600. X square plus x is equal to 600. X square plus x minus 600 equal to 0. So in this way we can convert the given verbal problems into quadratic equations. Now there are various aspects where quadratic equations are used. The path of a rocket when fired upwards and the path of a projectile is a quadratic function. The shapes of satellite discs, reflecting mirrors in telescopes, lenses of eyeglasses, orbits of celestial objects are defined by quadratic equations. When brakes are applied to vehicles, the stopping distance is calculated by a quadratic equation. So children, today we have learned what is a quadratic equation, how many roots it can have, and how to check whether the given equation is a quadratic equation or not, and also how to write the given verbal problem into a quadratic equations. Thank you children for watching the video.